Today, I'm asking a simple question. Why would anybody want to work with you? So now let's get into the meat of this episode. I've been hearing a lot of people talk about collaborations recently. If you don't know what a collaboration is, it's basically an artist or a writer who's looking to find somebody else to work with them without paying them. Collaborations are a cornerstone to the publishing business, especially when it comes to comic books and children's books. The theory is that together you can create something better and more successful than either of you can alone. And there's nothing wrong with this sort of creating. If you can find somebody to work with you to create a project, fantastic. I've worked this way before. Almost every creator that I know has worked this way before, where instead of getting a flat fee or a fee per page, they get paid with equity in the project. It's a fantastic way to work if you can find it. But there are a lot of people who want to collaborate and can't find collaborators. Basically, they're putting out there, hey, I want you to work on this book for equity, / for free, / for potential future sales. And they can't find anybody. And then they come to me and they complain. They say, why can't I find anybody to work for free on my book? I'm going to say work for free, but I mean equity. So if I say equity, if I say free, if I say future sales, if I say deferred pay, whatever I say in this and the rest of this episode, I mean a collaboration. Come to me and say, I can't find anybody to collaborate on my project. And they expect me to sympathize with them. I don't sympathize with them personally. Almost every one of my books, I have paid up front. In fact, every book that I've put out, I have paid up front for art or for editorial services or for cover design. I have never, on a book that I currently have out, asked somebody or had somebody work as a collaboration. But again, not that I mind. If you can get a collaboration to work for you, fantastic. But these people complain that they can't find anybody to work for free on their book. And I respond to them the same every time. Why would anybody work for free for you? And they say, well, the project's great, the book's great, I'm great. Some combination of those things. And I always look back at them and say, that's not enough. What do you mean? You want them to work for free just because you have a great book? Well, that's great. But as we know from listening to this podcast a lot, great just gets you in the game. That's all it is. Great is just the ability for you to be in the game and take a swing at the plate. Now, if you're trying to work with an artist, the artist is bringing a whole lot to that table. The artist is going to sell a lot of copies of your book just from art alone. 50% at least of the sales for comic books and graphic novels and books on another level are done from the graphics alone. The graphics alone sell 50% of the book, which means that if an artist takes on you as a collaborator, they're already putting in 50% of the work. So my question is always, okay, so they're doing their part. They're drawing the entire book. You're writing the entire book. We both know for a comic book or a kid's book, like that is not equal. It takes way longer to draw the book than to write the book. It may take you a long time in pre-planning. It may take you a long time in figuring stuff out. It may take you a long time in plotting. But the actual writing a book does not take anywhere near as long as drawing that book. On a good day, an artist can finish one page of art. On a good day, I can finish one issue of script, which means my output is almost 20 times better than an artist. It means I can do 20 times the amount of work in the time that it takes the artist to draw a book. So just amount of hours, their hourly rate, even if it's the same as mine, they're invested way more in that book hour by hour. Additionally, they probably haven't come up with a book. I have had some artists come to me for books, and we're kind of working on that right now, where they have an idea, they have some designs, and they need a story. And in that respect, either it's a collaboration or they are the person that is overseeing that project. They are the creator, they are the businessman. And that's one of the big things that you have to understand when you're going to find a collaborator. If you have the idea, you are the businessman, you are the creative, you are the person that is making the McDonald's. And if you find somebody who is a collaborator, you have to be able to tell them why they should invest their time and 50% equity in your company. So that's really what you're looking for. What you're looking for is not a collaborator. You're looking for an artist or another person to invest 50% into your company. You have 100% equity in an idea, and you're giving 50% of that away. And if their art is worth $100 a page on a $20 book, you're asking them to invest $2,000 in your idea. And my question is always, what are they going to return from that? How are they going to make that $2,000 back? Now, again, when it's the other way and an artist is coming to me or a writer for a book, I can very easily see, okay, here's the art style. Here's what you're willing to do. I can sell this. It's not the same for a writer looking for an artist. They are the person that's going to be responsible for making the book sellable, because their art is what's going to sell the book. On the vast majority of books, people come for the art and stay for the story. But the art is what sells the book. The story is what keeps them coming back to you, the business owner. You, the creator, the business owner. You are the one that they're going to come back to over and over again. But the art is what's going to sell that specific book. So my question is always, okay, so you're asking the artist to invest $2,000 into your book, into your business. What are you giving them? How are they going to recoup that money? And this is where it all falls apart. It always falls apart because no creator ever has a good idea of how they're going to invest or how they're going to recoup that money. What they're looking at is, I have a great story. I want to find an artist to make it happen. And this is where it becomes kind of predatory, because if you are not going in there with the expectation that they're going to make their money back and more, then all you're doing is trying to prey on someone for free work. I'm not saying that's anybody or anyone is intentionally doing that, but that is what at the end of the day you're saying. You're saying, I have this work that I've done. Now you do this work for free also, and then maybe we'll make money. Does that sound like a good idea? That's like a good idea to anybody. I don't think so. I don't think that if you switched it around and saw this from the artist perspective, that you would say, oh yeah, doing free work with no expectation of that money returning sounds like a good idea. Especially if you have a bunch of other clients lined up. Especially if you've done enough work as the writer to get other paying clients. Because that's what most of these artists are. If you're looking for an artist, they probably have paying clients, which means instead of working with them, they're going to work for you. And why would they work for you? Why would they give up that $2,000 to work for you just for issues and giggles? There's a couple of reasons. Maybe you guys are great friends and you come up with this idea and they're like, that's awesome. I totally would want to work on that. Maybe that generally isn't the case, but there are a lot of creators who are like that. You need to be a good creator, though, in your own right, before you really get other friends who are great creators also, who will be willing to work with you in this kind of split. Maybe you sell really well, or maybe you have a business plan that shows how this artist is going to make $5,000 out of their $2,000 investment. Because that's what they're doing. If they're going to take on that $2,000 risk, they want to get that $2,000 plus another $2,000 back, right? I mean, they want to make more than what they could make if they just went and got a client. And this is where these creators that come to me are really failing. Because regardless of whether they're being predators or they're really just naive, they're failing again and again and again because they have no reason. They have no way. They've not thought of any justification why an artist or another person would collaborate with them. Besides, this looks neat. I'm going to tell you, a lot of projects look neat. And a lot of projects that pay look neat. So if you're not going to give them a reason more compelling than it looks neat, why would an artist work for you? Why would anybody work for you? And that's what I really want to come back to right now. Because at the end of the day, when you're trying to get a collaboration or when you're trying to do anything, it's about how do you add value to the situation? How does your proposal add value? You are the person with the proposal, so you are the one that has to provide the value. The artist is under no obligation to provide value. You already know that he's valuable or she's valuable because you're going to them in the first place. So you have to provide value. You have to let them know why you are worth listening to and why you are worth them taking an investment on. If you can't do that, then you are going to have a huge, massive problem trying to find successful artists to help you. In fact, you'll have problems getting anybody to trust you or anybody to work with you if you can't tell them why your value proposition is worth their time. So the question that I want you to ask, really ask yourselves, is why? Why, oh why would anybody work with me? I have my answer. My answer is I own a publishing company. I have a distribution chain that can get into Barnes & Noble, into bookstores, into Amazon. I go to 40 to 50 shows a year, and we sell very well at those shows. We sell enough at those shows to make it legitimate that we continue staying in business. So when I go to somebody and they ask, why should I work with you? Even if I'm paying them, that's what I tell them. Why should you work with me? Well, because this is how many books that I've sold. This is my company. This is my brand. This is what we're trying to do. These are other books that we've done. And guess what? They take me seriously after that. They take me very seriously because I have a value proposition. And so I'm going to get out of here on this. What is your value proposition? Why would anybody want to work with you? If you like this episode, head on over to thebusinessofart.us/iTunes. Rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast today. It's the best way we can find new people. I don't really mean to be a buzzkill this episode. It's just really frustrating to hear this over and over and over again. And I know you guys do have value propositions. I know your books are awesome. And I just want you guys to know what other people are thinking. Take a second and think about what another person would say or what you would say if you were being pitched your idea. Because it's more than the idea. It's about the entire package. And if you can answer that question, why would anybody want to work with me? You'll have a lot more success finding collaborators and finding artists and becoming the creator that I know all of you can be. Thanks so much, wannabes and creators. I will see you next time.